I wholeheartedly believe, and would like to preface this, that this was going to be an Izuna video. But Blue Archive! There are, as mentioned before, numerous great characters, and the main strength of this game is the simping. Honestly speaking, if you ask me why you should play Blue Archive, my first options and my first reasons would be, first off, the characters. They're cute. The art for them is very nice, both inside the game and outside of it. The designs of these characters are all pretty unique and memorable. Yes, maybe some similarities, but they're all gorgeous. And honestly, you are going to find one you like and adore. It just may take you a while to get them. Second, I honestly say the story. It doesn't have to be the main story. You can look at the stories and go for mini stories. You can go for the group stories, which is essentially like the club stories. And yes, main story itself is great. But legitimately speaking, the mini stories are nice too. Excluding that, if you have specific clubs and groups of students you like, maybe you like problem solving because you like Kayako and Mitsuki and you want more of them. Maybe you're like me and you love the Ninjutsu Research Club. That is a legitimate factor that can accurately play into the gameplay. The concept of being able to say, hey, I like 1 to 2 units, maybe I like 3 characters from one specific group and I want more of them and their interactions. Outside of events, because you will get events that usually feature multiple characters, the fact that you have these club stories or these grouped up stories is extremely nice. I love the Ninjutsu Research Club. Izuna is my favorite character in this game. Mishru is a close second. So this is honestly speaking a great idea, at least in my opinion, because I get more of characters who are featured less often. I do think that a big issue is that because of how wide this roster is, if you are someone who maybe prefers or likes a character that either is introduced much later on, or a character that barely, if ever, gets featured within the main story, you're kind of out of luck for a big chunk of it. And I'm just gonna speak bluntly here. Even though I talk a lot about BA's story and about how good it is, I, as you see here, don't do much of it. I've done Rang's her relationship story. She's cute. I like her. Her design is nice. She's hot. But that's a different story for another time. I do think that Blue Archive's story is good, but from designs to music to story to characterization to the characters themselves, all of those are great. The biggest con, however, is the gameplay. My God. Look, I love the fandom. I love the community. I love everything about this game. But Blue Archive is a game I would say you do not play for the gameplay. Its biggest issue to me is the gameplay. That's its biggest drawback. Performance aside, because I do think this game needs a PC launcher, I do think that performance is a bit finicky sometimes. BlueStacks absolutely hates this game. Somehow it hates it more than Arknights, which Arknights barely ever works on BlueStacks sometimes. But Google Play Games allows you to run Arknights pretty effectively. Blue Archive does not have this. So excluding that, Blue Archive's gameplay, I think, would feel better if I had any semblance of control. And by that I mean, you could keep the exact same models the same because the chibi models are very cute. They're very adorable. They get a lot of effort put into them. But if you kept all that the exact same and just gave me the ability to position them myself, I would love it. It sucks when you're doing difficult stages and your units die because they were standing in, for example, fire and no one decided to move. Because that means you are building your team around the concept of getting units who can let you move because they drop cover or healing in a specific area that your units will move to, and not building a team around buffing or playstyle, which kind of sucks. Don't get me wrong, it's still a great game, but it does have its issues here and there. As I mentioned before, BA's community is the best one. I do think that, and this can be a personal issue, if you're an Arknights player, you kind of already suffered through this, but if your game is in a position to where you have your global side and your CN or JP side, which are usually ahead, that can lead to you being spoiled on story before you do it, for better or for worse. You get banner information early and the meta-analysis of characters early, but subsequently you also hear about story early. And it does remove that weird semblance of community you may have. For instance, if both sides experience the story at the exact same time, then everybody's together. But that's a totally subjective thing. You cannot mind that at all, and I think it does depend inherently on how much of the community you interact with. But once again, that's just something important to mention. Now, for everyone wondering, this is my former main account. It has Izuna. I love Izuna. It has all these characters who are legitimate, and I think are cute. Koharu is an exceptional character who I do love and adore. But I made a new account because I wanted to see if I could get back into this game. I have been playing it. Ren was the first pull. She is cute. I'm actually going to find her here. She's cute. She's adorable. Her design is wonderful. I do want to preface this. I don't like her being a technical, unique element. It's Sonic. It's not good. Sonic itself, perfectly fine. The game series, perfectly fine. But I think my biggest issue is that if you get a unit like Ren, a unit who is of a different type, much later on, your biggest downside is that she won't really perform well early game to a lot of scenarios, because a lot of scenarios in early game want you to have your piercing, your explosives, and even mystic. And Sonic just does not have that flexibility early on. So you're getting a character who, for the most part, is kind of useless to you at that moment. Depending on where you are. Regardless of that circumstance though, she's still a cute character. She's still extremely hot. The art is amazing. And once again, Blue Archive art never fails to amaze. For all of you who are interested, I will leave my friend code in the description down below. Tell me your favorite characters. I do intend on combing through and making videos on a good chunk of them. But beyond that, I think that my indication for Blue Archive being exceptional was that I went into HSR expecting it to mimic Blue Archive within the context of its DMs, of its relationship stories, because Blue Archive does that really, really well. It didn't do that, but if I'm looking at the gachas I play that are strictly mobile games and don't really have that PC-centric design, I'd say that Blue Archive has amazing characterization, amazing story, but the gameplay could have been replaced with Brown Dust 2, Nikke, or any combination of them, even Arknights, and I would have legitimately loved it more. Blue Archive is an exceptional game. Blue Archive's community is what every gacha game community should be. Blue Archive's gameplay is the only thing that's lagging behind. And the fact that it's gacha is so abhorrently bad. It honestly may have some of the worst gacha I have ever experienced in a game. I understand that you may get a 3-star rate up or a 3-star character, but it may not be the rate up so often. And unlike Nikke, this does not have a wish system. Unlike Nikke, this does not have a mileage ticket system. Unlike Nikke, this does not have a system under which your pulls are valuable if you don't get the unit within that set time frame. And that's what I think the biggest issue is. I think if pity was 100, cool. I think if it was 150, it'd still be pretty shit. But if it carried, if it gave you anything at all that could assist you in getting a character you liked, I would like it more. But I just don't. And that's a big drawback for a gacha game. Either way though, to literally everybody who's watching this video, you're cool, the community's great, y'all are nice, leave a like on the video, because you know, you gotta differentiate yourself somehow from the people who hate this community because haha lolly. But I personally believe that this game is something that holds a special place. I don't even play this game that often. My last major big experience was Swimsuit Azuna. And guess what? She's still my favorite character. I still adore that character. She's still the icon for the channel. And so I think if a game has left a lasting impression like that, then I can say it's a good game. I just legitimately wish there was more to this gameplay, rather than the characters are hot and therefore you should play. This is a good game if you don't like the gameplay, if you don't want to play, but even then, it doesn't feel good, I guess. There's no consensus of like investment. For example, in Nikke, you can limit break a unit, you can core a unit, you can invest into them regarding their skills, regarding their gear. That is a numerous amount of things, including the collection items. In this game, I like Azuna. I can't do anything more for Azuna. My last thing would be, yeah, I can level up these, her gear specifically, but eventually everyone's gonna have that point. And there's no real way to show that dedication to a character. Maxing out a character is fine, but let's be blunt here. Some of the resources you need to max out a character are RNG dependent on if they drop or not, and subsequently, events have to give them to you in other ways if you want it as a more guaranteed fashion. And that sucks. So there are issues with BA, but I love the game and would honestly say it's nice, fine, 7 out of 10, maybe 6, I don't know. But it's not a game I'd log into every day. It's a game whose community I would interact with every day. It's a game whose art community I would interact with every day. But it's severely lacking on the fanfiction aspect for some weird reason, and the gameplay aspect, which is a definite thing. But maybe you enjoy it, and if you do, hey, I'll see you next time in the Azuna video that I've been thinking about making for a week now. But tell me who you simp for. I will probably have a poll within the community tab, and I'll see you next time. Also, hey, I'll play more variety, so maybe hop over to the community tab and leave your thoughts for variety games, or fill out the content form.